The great folks at Xtool sent me an A30M to test out. It is apparently a replacement for the A30. If you remember, I did a video a while back. The A30 was a self-contained tablet and it had a Bluetooth connection to the OBD port. And at the time I got it, it was by far the best scan tool I'd ever seen. It had basically almost all of the functionality that you would ever need as a DIY person. But it had a couple of little glitchy things that I could never get worked out with. And I will say this, the company was absolutely wonderful about working with me. They stayed in touch with me constantly, sometimes on a daily basis, sending me custom patches and so forth, trying to get stuff worked out. I eventually refunded the A30 and got the D7, which is a higher up model, and it had a couple of features that the A30 didn't have. Most notably was the mileage correction. I don't know if the videos are uploaded at the time you're seeing this video, but one of the problems I had was when I plugged in the A30 to the Chevy Avalanche, it totally reset the mileage. So the odometer showed 0, all the trip odometers showed 0, you know, business miles and personal miles showed 0, everything had zeroed out. Company worked with me at great length to try to fix it, and even with the D7 we weren't able to correct the mileage. Even though that's one of the features of the D7, it just wouldn't work. We were about to give up and send it to the dealership, and I just let the truck sit for a little over a week, and then I went out and lo and behold the mileage was back. Now all the trip odometers were not back, which is weird. So it reset some of the stuff, but for some reason the odometer came back after reading 0 and 1 for a long time. Because I would periodically drive it around the shop trying to see what would happen. So like I said, I added 1 mile to it during that process. Certainly the D7 has been my favorite. I think this A30M is going to end up being my favorite because this is all you've got. This is all you need. You carry your cell phone with you all the time probably, and then you just have this small device that plugs into the OBD port and you have full functionality. I think it has basically everything the D7 does. There may be a couple things that it doesn't have, but for the typical person, this is going to do everything you need. In fact, you could probably run a small independent shop with just this. Software is real easy to install. Go to your app store on your cell phone. I think it also works on a lot of tablets, and it's called AnyScan. I just searched for Xtool and it came up. I've already installed it, so I'm just going to hit open, and you see it has the exact interface of the D7 scan tool. And then you get updates all the time, which is nice. So I'll install some updates, and you see I have fast Wi-Fi here at the house, so it loads up pretty quick. It does require an activation code, and if you looked in the box you would say there's nothing in there, but that is stuck in the bottom of the box, and that is your activation code and everything you need to get the software running. So if, like me, you open the box, pulled this part out and said there's no activation code, and you're looking in the box, it's because that is tucked down in there. That's the actual device, and you see that just plugs into your OBD port. You see it has a built-in light, so you can actually use it to see down there if you need to. And you see it's plugged in, and the light comes on to let you know that it's connected. And when it's done, it shows all software is up to date. This is your main screen. You want your key on to the run position, but the engine is off. Some things can be done with the engine running. There's nothing with the key off. So you have key on, engine off, or key on engine running. I like the new interface. It's the same as the D7 interface. The A30 was a little confusing because you would go down in these rabbit holes, like for example the ABS bleeding. You could find manual things under one menu tree and then the automated on another. So like you would think you were working your way towards being able to service the ABS only to find that you were in the wrong menu basically. Whereas this seems like everything is together. A30M. I guess it helps to have it paired, huh? Alright, so if we're going to do ABS bleed, for example, we go to Special Functions, ABS bleed. This is a Ford. I'll go ahead and let it do automatic. And it's funny, it can detect close, but it can't automatically detect the exact vehicle. So then you go System, ABS, and then you've got your codes, which we'll just go ahead and read. There's none that I know of, but we'll read codes anyway. So no trouble codes. We go to Special Functions, Service of Anti-Lock Brakes. This is the only part of this that I don't really like. It's a C workshop manual before continuing and before running tests. Complete all necessary steps. Have vehicle prepared for test. I don't know what those are. When you Google and look at shop manuals and stuff, there's not really a clear do A, then B, then C. So I have just basically, when I've done this, put the car on 4 jack stands, taken the 4 wheels off, made sure there's enough fluid in the master cylinder, and attached my little drain connector, open the plug, and then run the test. So when I start this, it's going to start the test. I'm not going to run the whole test, obviously, but you'll be able to hear it doing its thing. So it's going to tell me to press the brakes while it's running. So you can hear the pump. Okay, well, there's not a way to stop it. The thing is going to run for a long time other than to just turn it off. So turn off, and then of course it failed to communicate. But if you were needing to do the brake bleed, that's how you would do it. So a lot of these are not going to be applicable to the Ford Crown Victoria, at least the Police Interceptor, but if you've got other vehicles, you may find these to be very helpful. One that does work is the throttle. So we'll go America, Ford, automatic matching, ignition is on. And this will reset the idle speed learning values. Alright, so that says it was successful. Turn off the ignition, wait 15 seconds, and then turn it back on. So the instrument cluster one, you can update your mileage. So you can back up, do recovery. So I'm not going to change mine, but if you were going to, that's where you would do it. Now, when I did it on the D7, it wasn't exact. So like right now my odometer shows 119,457. So if I typed 119,457, it wrote something like 119,485 or something. It was off by just a little bit. So I had to keep playing with it till I could get it to write the correct number. So what I had done was just wrote down what the correct one was, went in, just seeing if it would work or not, and it did work, but like I said, it was off by a little bit, so I had to play around till I could get it back. There's the D7 and there's the A30M, and obviously it's very, very close. There's remote control and extended functions on here that aren't on here. The D7's not plugged in right now, so it's probably not gonna do anything. Like if I press diagnosis on there, it's not hooked up to the car. But updates I just did, just like I did on here. So if you're just wanting what most of you are going to be looking for, which is to do like OBD code reading, again, this is something that I wish you could set, but it defaults to Asia. You got Asia, Europe, America. So like if you are like me and have all American cars, this is going to be where you're typically working. So then you can just find yours. So we got Ford over here. Here's my Kindle, and here's the Xtool tablet. So you see they're basically the same size. Now the Xtool D7 comes with this nice thick protective case. So it's meant to be, you know, used in a shop, whereas the Kindle is just a home pad device. But anyway, I'll show you how to install the software on here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do automatic again. And you can select certain systems if you want to scan them. You can look at your vehicle information, or you can do automatic. Obviously, automatic does everything. So depending on how many systems your car has, it will scan all of them, and then it'll tell you if there's, you know, codes present in any of those systems. Driver door module, let's see what it thinks is wrong here. See, I don't understand, like missing or incorrect signal of vehicle speed. I don't know why that would be on the driver door module, but I don't know. Here we go. Here's all the codes. Readiness test of onboard diagnostics not completed. Communication failure. High battery voltage on the driver door module. Missing incorrect signal of vehicle speed. Transmission. So same two codes for lighting and driver door. Again, I don't know. Those don't make sense. So we'll clear all those codes and see what happens. So anyway, there you have it. It's a very powerful tool. It has a lot of what we call bidirectional function, where it can write data to the car as well as read. Whereas basically all of your inexpensive scan tools, all they do is read data. They don't write any data. This lets you change settings. You can do, if you play around with these menus, you can really find a lot of things, you know, particularly in here. There's our beloved Crown Victoria 4.6, 2-valve. This one's the 2008. So if we go system instead of, you can look at all these different systems, and so like driver door module. unlock of driver's door or two-step, you can turn on or off. Let's just see if we put it on. What does it do? It's not liking that one. That may be because of this is a police car. It may not have that. So we'll go to a different one. Lighting control module, actuation test. I'll try hazards. Didn't do anything. Daytime running lamps. So you can turn them on or off. I like them off. So there's my high beams on. You can hear the LED fans kick on when those went on. Left low beam. Parking lamps. That didn't do anything. Anyway, you've got all sorts of stuff you can play around with on here, but my favorite thing is the fact that it reads all of the systems, not just your check engine light. You can reset codes on all sorts of things that you can't do with a regular system. And then obviously with the bidirectional, you've got ABS bleeding on many different vehicles. And so like, if you want to do manual stuff, like here's the ABS, you can turn on the pump. And then you can open the different dump valves. And then press your brake pedal. That should, hopefully, if there's any air in any of these, kick it out. You'd still have to go do a regular bleed if you did that. If there was air and I pushed it out, it would now be in the lines and you have to do a regular bleed. Like I said, this is manual. You have the automated bleed, which is the recommended procedure. So folks have asked, do you need forescan if you have this? I'm not competent enough with this yet to not need forescan for a couple things. But this probably does all of the forescan stuff. I just haven't figured out how to do it. The nice thing is, since forescan's free, other than buying the little $15 adapter, it doesn't hurt to have it. Even if you have this software. So we'll see what the auto scan does. Okay, it just goes back to the same thing there. I'm going to pause it and I'm going to start the engine and then see. See if we do an automatic scan with the engine running. It's still giving me the failures on those. So now it's just showing those two. Readiness test of onboard diagnostic is not completed. Doesn't give me a fix or anything. So P1000-FF and then U1262-20 communications failure with the instrument cluster. Again, I don't know what that's about because everything works on the cluster. Okay, I promised to show you how to get it on the Kindle, and it's xtooltech.com/downloadapp.html, and then !app ID equals any scan. I'll put that link in the description. I've already downloaded it, so let me see if I can just get to it. Okay, you see I downloaded it already previously, so I will launch it. And if you don't have it set up to do basically non-app store type installations, you'll have to do that. I've already done that. It's installed. I'll open it, and it's going to come up with a bunch of warnings. Now I'm an attorney, and I read the license agreement, and there's no way in heck you would ever agree to any of the license agreements if you ever read them and knew what they're saying. You know, this is typical. It's basically everything's your fault, nothing's their fault, and if you have a problem, the venue for lawsuits would be in China. So don't know how well that would hold up in America, but we'll go ahead and just say agree. And then it's going to pop these up, and there's nothing in the agreements that say they're actually going to access any of those things, so I'm not really sure if this is a true where they're trying to hack into your stuff, or if it's just, you know, when you're using the software it creates files and so it needs to access those, or it might take pictures, and you know, that's one thing I don't like about these app permissions, and that's for any app, not just for this one, is when they say things like access your photos, media, and files. Does that mean they're going to access every single thing on your device, copy it, use it for whatever they want, including your family photos and private emails, anything else you have on the device? So, you know, my gut instinct would say deny. This particular device doesn't have anything. I don't take pictures or anything. So this is where you need your paper. You're going to put in your activation code and serial number and your personal information on there. Okay, I put in all my info and activated it, and this is the screen that came up. First thing we want to do is update. So the Kindle interface is a little bit different. It doesn't have the main screen, so this is basically your main screen, and you have these choices. So services is where you find the things like the ABS bleeding and stuff, and then you choose the country of origin of your vehicle. So for me it's America, and I have a Chevy and a Ford and a Dodge, so I would pick whatever of those I was doing, so I'll just pick Ford for right now, and I haven't hooked it up to the Bluetooth yet. So anyway, that's how you do it on the Kindle. So I may end up just keeping it on the phone, since I like the interface a little bit better on the phone, and I always have the phone. I don't always have the Kindle with me, but I did want to show you that there is an option for that if you like the bigger screen.